The monarchy provides, with the constitution, a degree of long-term stability that is actually quite hard to come by any other way.
Imagine this scenario. Even though you're the Queen of the United Kingdom, there's still one specific room, or perhaps an entire section, that remains firmly off limits to you. That's the intriguing rumor circulating quietly among those close to the royal inner circle, shared only in hushed tones behind palace walls. The Princess Royal, known for her unwavering resolve, has apparently taken decisive legal steps to protect a private portion of the Sandringham estate. In doing so, she has reportedly blocked Queen Camilla's hopes of creating a peaceful summer retreat within one of Britain's most iconic royal residences. But what's really going on here? Why would such a consistently loyal member of the royal family decide right now to draw such a clear, enforceable line? Stay with me. This situation reaches far deeper than a simple property disagreement. Let's set the stage by understanding what Sandringham actually means to the royal family. To fully appreciate the seriousness of this conflict, you have to see Sandringham for what it truly is. It isn't just another house. It stands as a living symbol of the British monarchy's personal heart. Spanning around 20,000 acres of beautiful Norfolk parkland, roughly 110 miles north of London. The estate was first acquired by Queen Victoria in 1862. She bought it as a gift for her son, who would later become King Edward VI. Ever since, it has passed personally from one sovereign to the next. Unlike many royal properties tied to the Crown Estate or managed by the state, Sandringham remains strictly private, owned outright by the monarch as an individual, not by the nation. That distinction is crucial. The estate belongs to the king personally, not the institution or the government. When Queen Elizabeth passed away in September 2022, ownership shifted directly to King Charles. This is the place where the family gathers every Christmas without fail, where Queen Elizabeth spent her last days, and where Prince Philip chose to live out his quieter retirement years at Wood Farm, tucked away on the grounds. Sandringham House itself is only part of the picture. The vast estate includes a collection of historic homes and cottages scattered across the land: Wood Farm, Amer Hall, where Prince William and Princess Kate resided, Park House, the birthplace of Princess Diana, the Folly, and several working farms, including Marsh Farm, which now serves as the home for the disgraced Andrew Mountbatten, Windsor after his departure from Royal Lodge in Windsor. Over decades, various members of the royal family developed unwritten, private agreements about who could use certain buildings and areas on the property. These arrangements relied on family trust, mutual respect, and a kind of gentlemanly understanding passed down through generations. But in the more uncertain climate of 2026, those once reliable informal deals have become increasingly tense and formalized. When lawyers get involved, it becomes clear that the old ways of handling things within the family have broken down completely. The deeper divide between Anne and Camilla, a tension that has lingered for decades. Before diving into the specifics of the legal steps, it's important to address the obvious undercurrent that has run through palace corridors for nearly 50 years, the strained dynamic between Princess Anne and Queen Camilla. The friction didn't begin with Charles's marriage to Camilla in 2005, although that event certainly made things more intense. Reports suggest the difficulties go all the way back to the 1970s, when Camilla Parker Bowles first became part of Charles's world. Her presence played a role in the eventual collapse of his marriage to Diana, and in the family rifts that Anne has dedicated her life to protecting and minimizing. As the Princess Royal, Anne is regarded by many as the hardest working member of the family, consistently performing more public engagements each year than almost anyone else. She approaches her role with discipline, determination, and precision, maintaining a deeply traditional view of what royal duty requires. She shuns the spotlight for its own sake, never seeks public sympathy, and has long acted as a steady, reliable foundation for the modern monarchy. Camilla, on the other hand, entered royal life during what many palace observers saw as one of its biggest scandals. For years, she endured widespread public criticism and skepticism from key family members, including Anne. While Camilla has worked tirelessly to restore her public image and has largely succeeded, the core tension with Anne has never truly disappeared. In recent times, those familiar with the royals describe the relationship between Anne and Camilla as a cold, distant standoff that occasionally erupts into open disagreement. According to one well-placed source speaking to a major outlet, Anne believes Camilla has overstepped her rightful place, while Camilla sees Anne as someone who confuses loyalty to family with sound judgment. That mutual suspicion has now crystallized into a concrete conflict over control and access at Sandringham itself. How Andrew's fall set everything in motion. To understand the heart of this legal matter, we need to follow the chain of events that began with the downfall of Andrew Mountbatten, Windsor, formerly Prince Andrew, Duke of York. In October 2025, King Charles formally stripped his younger brother of all remaining royal titles, honours, and rights to reside in properties tied to the Crown estate. Andrew's reputation had already been shattered by his infamous television interview addressing his connections to the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The situation grew even more damaging with the release of a memoir by Epstein's survivor Virginia Gifford after her passing. As a result, Andrew moved out of the expansive 30-room Royal Lodge near Windsor and into the more modest wood farm on the Sandringham estate. Then came the shocking development. On February 19, 2026, coinciding with Andrew's 66th birthday, he was arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office. Plainclothes police arrived at the Sandringham property, conducting coordinated searches at both Wood Farm in Norfolk and the former Royal Lodge in Berkshire. Andrew was taken to Eltham Police Station, held for roughly 11 hours, and later released while inquiries continued. This event was unprecedented. The first time a reigning monarch's sibling had faced arrest since Queen Elizabeth I ordered the confinement of her sister Mary in 1554. King Charles responded with a brief public statement: the law must take its course. It was at this point that Princess Anne became more prominently involved, shifting the story in a striking direction. Various reports describe how Anne has quietly but firmly advocated for her brother to be treated with basic dignity amid his troubles. She reportedly expressed serious concerns about his deteriorating mental health to both King Charles and Prince William. Anne is seen by some as the leading voice in a low, key family effort to ensure the monarchy doesn't completely abandon Andrew. Queen Camilla, by contrast, has taken a hard-line stance against showing any leniency, viewing any sign of family solidarity as potentially damaging to the institution's reputation. One insider noted that Camilla appeared genuinely frustrated that Anne was even raising the issue. What began as a disagreement about how to handle Andrew's situation has since spilled over into questions of property rights, access privileges, and legal claims on the Sandringham grounds. Exactly what legal moves Anne's team made? So what precise actions did Princess Anne's lawyers take? And how have they impacted Queen Camilla's summer plans? According to available accounts, Anne, through her legal representatives, has formally asserted and documented her household's exclusive usage rights over a defined area of the Sandringham estate. This isn't an attempt to claim ownership away from the king. Rather, it codifies the long-standing informal arrangements that have governed how different family branches use various parts of the property. Arrangements like these are common among Britain's historic landed families. When generations-old estates are involved, relatives often turn to formal occupancy licenses, customary access rights, or shared use agreements drafted by solicitors, especially once verbal understandings begin to fray. It appears that the old informal system at Sandringham finally unraveled in 2026. By bringing in lawyers to record and secure her family's access to certain sections, Anne accomplishes two key goals. She creates a lasting legal paper trail that the palace can't easily ignore or undo. At the same time, she sends a clear message to Camilla and the broader royal household: these spaces belong to my side of the family, and I won't allow them to be taken away. The timing is significant. Sandringham House typically shuts its doors to the public between July 13 and August 3 each year, a period when the royal family gathers privately for summer relaxation. There had been quiet talk that Camilla might claim one of the more secluded wings for an extended personal retreat during those weeks, separate from the king, who traditionally spends that season at Balmoral in Scotland. By acting when she did, Anne has closed off that possibility within the protected zone. Those in the know say Camilla is privately quite upset, although no official palace comment has been released. What Camilla stood to gain, and why the space mattered to her. To understand the potential loss for Camilla, it's worth considering her long-standing need for personal privacy and independent space, qualities that have always been important to her as queen. King Charles has always been deeply connected to land and estates as part of his identity. Camilla, however, has historically maintained a degree of independence through her own private retreats. For many years, her favorite hideaway was Raymel House in Wiltshire, a charming country property she purchased for £850,000 following her 1995 divorce from Andrew Parker Bowles. It gave her a place to escape royal pressures and simply live as herself, without titles or protocols. Early in 2026, news emerged that Camilla had quietly sold Raymel House. The move drew attention because it suggested she was integrating more fully into the royal structure, rather than preserving a separate haven outside it. Around the same time, reports noted that King Charles had bought a nearby property in Wiltshire for £3 million, tying their personal lives even closer together in that area. With Raymel gone and Balmoral reserved for Charles's summer routine, Sandringham began to look like a natural alternative for Camilla. It would allow her to enjoy a low-key, private summer stay amid the estate's lovely gardens, far from the relentless public demands of London. The specific wing reportedly secured by Anne's legal team has historical ties to arrangements used by the Princess Royal's household during visits. Whether Camilla had firm intentions to use those particular spaces, or whether Anne acted preemptively to lock them down, the outcome is the same: a clear boundary now exists, keeping the Queen out. King Charles caught in the middle, no simple solution in sight. King Charles is now navigating an extremely challenging position. Caught between two strong-willed women central to his life, he continues to manage serious health issues while guiding the monarchy through turbulent times. In December 2025, he indicated plans to scale back his cancer treatment, hinting at some improvement, though his health remains a concern. His brother is under investigation following an arrest, and his son Harry remains distant, still involved in legal battles with British newspapers that keep family matters in the headlines. Although overall support for the monarchy remains solid, it has faced repeated tests in recent years. Now, his sister Anne and his wife Camilla are locked in both a legal and emotional struggle over the family estate. People inside the palace say Charles is hesitant to step in directly. He greatly values Anne's loyal backing, especially during his health challenges, where she has provided both public support and private assistance. At the same time, he relies on Camilla as a steady, stabilizing force in his daily life. One close aide noted that both women are exceptionally determined and unlikely to back down. This puts Charles in the position of trying to balance loyalties while keeping the family from further fracture. For now, he has chosen silence, a strategy that buys time but, according to observers nearby, only builds more tension on both sides. In royal circles, staying quiet seldom means neutrality. It often plants the seeds for bigger conflicts later. At Sandringham, what started as personal friction has now been formalized in legal documents, making it much harder to ignore or resolve quietly. Looking forward, the estate, the family, and the future of the monarchy. The royal family now faces important questions about whether Sandringham can continue serving as a private refuge for the crown. Right now, Princess Anne's legal actions have secured certain parts of the estate for her household, effectively preventing Queen Camilla from using them, at least for the present. What might once have been settled through private family discussion has moved firmly into the courtroom. The implications stretch well beyond one summer season. For generations, Sandringham has been the emotional core of the monarchy, a place where the family could step away from public eyes. Queen Elizabeth II adored it, and King George VI passed away there. Christmas gatherings happen not because of duty but because the estate genuinely feels like home. Bringing lawyers into property arrangements signals a decline in personal trust among the Windsors, with formal documents replacing informal family bonds. Princess Anne's decision to secure legal protections shows she believes the days of casual agreements are over. She is prioritizing certainty and security for her own household over preserving overall family unity, implying that full harmony may no longer be realistic. Queen Camilla, however, is not one to give up easily. Now approaching her late 70s, she is more confident in her role than ever before, having overcome years of intense scrutiny. It's unlikely she will simply accept Anne's move without response. The open question is whether she pushes the conflict further, potentially drawing more public notice, or finds another way to carve out her own space on the estate. Andrew Mountbatten, Windsor continues living at Wood Farm on the Sandringham property, still under investigation, stripped of his former status, and reportedly struggling with his mental well-being. Although Princess Anne has consistently supported him, the official stance of the monarchy remains unchanged. Even so, Anne keeps a protective eye on her brother. Throughout its history, Sandringham has witnessed both the grandeur and the hardships of royal life, times of celebration as well as sorrow and scandal. In 2026, it has become the backdrop for a quiet but intense battle over power, space, loyalty, and legacy. The contest plays out through legal paperwork rather than open confrontation, yet it clearly communicates that one party is no longer welcome in certain areas. Princess Anne has established a solid boundary. The real uncertainty is whether anyone will challenge it head-on. What is happening at Sandringham goes far beyond a seasonal holiday plan. It reveals questions about influence and authority inside the House of Windsor when the king either cannot or will not take a decisive stand. It shows a family bound by duty but divided by deep-seated differences. And it forces us to ask whether this cherished private retreat can survive being turned into a place of legal disputes. If this story held your attention, please give it a like. Subscribe for more updates on royal developments and share your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think Princess Anne was right to take this legal step, or has she crossed into territory that's hard to come back from? Until next time.